Hi, I'm Gary Stuart. I'm 58 years old. I've been riding since I was 46. I got the Stark Varg. I ordered it back in 2021, and it finally, after much hand-wringing, it finally arrived a week ago today. So today is going to be my second day on the bike. I had a chance to ride it last week, put about an hour 14 on it, and then fortunately or unfortunately we had to go out of town, and haven't had a chance to ride it until today. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been riding since I was 46. My son, when he was 13, decided he wanted to get into the sport, and of course Dad had to have a bike as well. So he and I rode for several years, some of the great experiences of our lives, and after he graduated and went off to college, I kept riding. I do compete at Loretta's. I haven't gone the last 2 years. I've been fighting some injuries, but I've been, I think, about 5 times in 2 different classes in the time that I've been riding. So that's my background as a rider. I thought there would be more of a transition and getting used to the no clutch and no shifter and no pedal brake. And I may have told you, the first ride out I didn't plan on hitting anything, and I'd hit everything but one jump. The second time out I hit everything, and you've seen my track, so there's some pretty big gap jumps. So it was I didn't expect it to be that easy, and then I thought there would be more of an adjustment in how the bike flies in the air, and that was surprisingly good from my perspective. I did it today too. Phantom shift. The fact that there is no shifter, that was hard. The weight of the bike, it is a little heavy, particularly after riding on a clay track for a day with pretty wet. Holds a lot of mud. It's heavier lifting on the stand. On the track, you don't notice the weight at all. In fact, it feels more like a 250, honestly. But if you dump it, and I have, in a turn or whatever, and picking the bike up, it's a little heavy. So you can definitely feel that.
How does it compare to a 450?
Power-wise, I would say very comparable. You know, keep in mind I've only ridden it so far in 50 horsepower with 65% engine braking, but it feels very comparable. The difference is not having to worry about am I in the right gear coming out of a turn? If you've got a jump that you're trying to hit straight out of a turn, not blipping the clutch to get a little more momentum, just being able to roll on the throttle and still hit that. But it's very comparable. It turns better, in my opinion. It turns better than my Husky 450, and I've ridden Husky and KTM the last 5 or 6 years, and Kawasaki before that. The bike just seems to settle in the turn a lot easier, and it's so fun to turn. I don't know if you noticed the last time I was out, I said I was done, but I've made a couple more turns just to get that sensation of how easy it is to turn. I typically don't ride that long, and on this one, I don't want to get off the track, but I have to remind myself to do so because I'm 58 years old and I don't want to get hurt. But yeah, it's super, super fun. I can't, under my helmet I'm smiling, you can't see me, but it's like I can't wipe the smile off of my face. It's so darn fun to ride.
If you had to pick any part of the bike as your favorite part, any you know, is it the brakes, the suspension, the power, the chassis, what's your favorite part of the bike so far?
So I've always, well, not always, but since I've been racing seriously over the last 5 or 6 years, have always had cone valve WP suspension. Never had KYB, and this is, I guess, KYB, and the suspension is way better. You know, it's a new bike, so it's stiff. The suspension is way better than I thought. My favorite part of the bike, honestly, I would have to say the rear brake on the handlebar, and being able to just sort of apply light pressure when you need it and not have to worry about stomping on it, and probably just bad habits for me, but that and of course the torque is you know, a ton of fun.
How's the phone been? I guess that's a new thing in motocross is having.
I was also surprised by that. I didn't realize it was a full out Android phone, so you could put your SIM card in it and it would be your day phone. I'm not going to use it that way, and in full transparency, I'm a technology guy. All my career was in technology. My background is technology, so I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. But since I've only been out twice, I haven't completely explored the app. I did discover that just on charging through a 110 volt, there's a setting that you can change it from 8 amps to 10 amps, because I had it set at 8, changed it to 10, and it actually charges a little faster. So I'm sure there's a ton of tweaks that you can do. It's also really cool that you can have 10 preloaded modes, and you can change that on the fly while you're at the track. And I just set my first mode to like 15 horsepower because I have a bit of a ride out of the track, just to preserve battery. I put it on 15 horsepower and 70% regenerative braking, and it allows me to get out to the track without burning any battery whatsoever. So then as soon as I get there, I just click it into mode 2, and you can do it on the fly, so that's really cool.
How do you think electric motocross bikes are going to impact the sport?
That's a good question. You know, I didn't start riding seriously until 46, and so I wasn't around during the transition from 2-stroke to 4-stroke, but I've got to believe that it was something comparable where people thought, you know, it's going to be the death of motocross. And for me, I live half the year in Tampa, and I've seen a number of tracks close down, and hopefully this will open up some avenues in urban and close to the city riding that otherwise aren't available. So I don't know how they're going to handle racing yet. I've inquired about that because I do intend to compete this year, and I'll keep my gas bike, but I'd love to compete on this if they're going to let me. So I just don't know how they're going to do that. They're probably going to have to come up with a class. I don't know.
Is there anything you changed about the bike?
Well, I've only got 2 hours of ride time on it, maybe a little over 2 hours of ride time. I think I got a flat this time out, and so the fact that I'm going to have to change the front tube that quickly is a bit disappointing. And as I understand it, they put in a very, very lightweight tube. I've seen pictures of it online, and I'll see when I get it out. But so I don't know why they put such a light-duty tube in a motocross bike, but that would be a disappointment. The cord coming out of the charger, the stand has a charger built into it. You can charge 240 volt or 120 volt or 110, and it's a little short that goes from the stand to the bike, but it's not, you know, it's just a minor thing. It's not a big deal for me.
How has the battery life and charge time been for you?
Surprisingly well. Again, in full disclosure, we've converted all but one of our vehicles. Sorry, we have a Sprinter van that I motocross in, but to EV. So I'm very comfortable with the notion of charging and how that process works. And I rode the first time out, I rode about 1 hour 15. I did 4 sessions across that time frame, 1 hour 15 riding time, and I charged as soon as I got off the stand. I just plugged it into the wall via a 110 outlet, and after 4 sessions and an hour and 14, to be precise, an hour and 14 minutes riding, I still had 49% battery charge. Today I think it was pretty comparable. I did a little longer moto, I think, maybe than I typically do, and I think it was maybe a little more than 48 or 49%. So for me, I don't think it'll be a practical issue at the track. Fortunately, I have solar in my van, and I have plenty of 110 outlets, and so I'll just plug it in like I do at my track, and plug it in between motos. And I'm sure I'm going to have people wanting to ride it, so that might become an issue. Run the battery down, but other than that, I don't think, practically speaking, at least on a weekend of just riding for fun and practice, I don't think it'll be an issue. Motos, we'll see. Typically, you have good time between motos, so. And if I had to, I could charge via 240 and get probably to where I need to be. And then, of course, if I go from 50 horsepower to 60, which will be probably unlikely for me, then it would burn a little more battery.
Do you have anything to say to the people that hate on the e-bikes or think that it's going to hurt the sport or anything? What's your opinion on that?
No, not really. I mean, haters going to hate. I don't know. To each his own. I'm not knocking anybody for riding a gas bike, and I'll probably, knock on wood, I mean, we'll see, keep a gas bike. Certainly if I have to compete on a gas bike, then I'll keep it. But as much as I like this thing, honestly, I'm not sure when the next time I'll get on my gas bike will be. It might be at a race, but no, I don't know. I mean, I guess what I would say is get on one and ride it, and you make your own judgment as to whether or not it's for you or not. They're a little expensive, but my Husky wasn't too far off from this when I bought it new. So, over time, just like the EVs, autos, the price will come down, and you've already seen Honda and others, I'm sure, are going to jump into the sport, and so the price point will come down. Ease of maintenance, we're sitting on a wash pad, and I'm going to wash the bike, and the first time I grabbed it, I looked for my muffler plug to plug in, and my airbox cover to cover the airbox, and those are simple things, but it makes it so easy to ride and to maintain, so there's just not much to worry about.
Describe the Stark Varg in one word.
Transforming would probably be the word that I would use. I think in a number of ways, for people who are just trying to learn to ride. I had some cousins in not too long ago that don't have experience with dirt bikes and wanted to hop on my 450, and it took them a while just to get it out of first gear and being able to shift. So being able to hop on this and not have to worry about those things is nice. I think, as I mentioned earlier, city riding, I think it can open up some new venues that might otherwise not be available. And who knows what this is going to do for the X Games kind of stuff on it. I've already seen Travis Pastrana and some of those guys doing crazy things on them, so way out of my league. But so I think it's transforming would probably be the word that I would use.
Awesome.